Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to do a few things. We're gonna be hanging the 2 walk-through gates on this project we've been working on, which I'm super excited about, and I'm super excited to tie the fence into the house. There's just a lot of detail work that needs to be done, and I'm super excited about that. And I'm also gonna share a tip with you on cutting rusty used oil-filled pipe. Oh, and I'm also going to show you what I mean whenever I say flush mount latch, because we're gonna be putting some flush mounted latches into these pre-made gates, and I'm excited to share that with you also. If you're new around here, welcome. My name's Austin Ross. Thank you for being here. I've been a welder for about 15 years, and here on this channel, I just share the projects that I do and anything I learn along the way. I love learning. My goal is to help you learn from my mistakes and just have fun doing it. And for those of you that have been waiting on the pipe fence course to open back up for enrollment, if you're watching this video whenever it's first published, it is now open for enrollment. It'll be open until Wednesday of next week. That's October 5th, 2022. You can find the course at arosswelding.school. Links will be in the description. If this is your first time hearing about the pipe fence course and you don't have any idea what it is, head on over there to the Ross Welding Trade School at arosswelding.school and you can check it out there. All right, first things first this morning, we're gonna put some rails down here. He wants to run a rail along this bottom, and we'll do that before we stretch this wire. We plan on putting it pretty close to the ground, probably not like right on the ground, but pretty close to it, a couple 3 inches off the ground or so. One there, and then also on the other side of the shop where the panels are that Dakota put in the other day. Hi little guy, what are you doing? There's cats everywhere I go. Kevin and Karen at home. Got this cool looking calico cat here at this fella's house. Have a good day there, buddy. First thing we had to do was obviously get measurements of our pieces that we're putting in the bottom of this fence here. Oh. Wrong knee. 1/16. A little tip for those of you that may not know how we're getting our exact measurements. For one, I try to keep my tape as parallel as possible to the top rail or to where the rail's gonna live. In this case, I'm just wanting it to match the top rail. So if the top rail is running like this, I want the bottom rail to run the exact same. So just making sure my tape's not at an angle because that's gonna affect the measurement. But we're just buttoning this up against a piece of pipe, and then I'm buttoning my tape up against the other piece of pipe. And then most all tape measures are gonna have a measurement right here of how long this part of the tape is. And so whatever our measurement is right here, I just add the amount of the tape measure. And then whenever we go to cut our horizontal pieces, I just measure from the throat of our saddle. That way I don't have to worry about adding a certain amount for the ears because we're just going off of the shortest to shortest measurement of our saddles, or also known as throat to throat of our saddles. This here is what we call the throat of our saddle, and this here is what we call the ear of our saddle. So anytime you hear us referring to throat or ear, that's what we're talking about. Once we got our measurements, we set us a piece of pipe up in jack stands and started cutting our rails. A lot of times I'll hit this pipe with a hammer to get rid of that rust on the inside, or if it starts to, if it blows out like it just did, I'll just move my torch up this way. That way whatever blows out, hopefully it doesn't blow out. If I could get it, do it again, I'd show you. Anyway, like, yeah, right there where it blew out, I just moved my torch up this way away from the good piece, which in this case is this piece closest to me, and I just let it blow out, and I just stay up here, and that way kind of using that blowout as I just run that blowout along my line, if that makes sense. Work with the blowout instead of against it. Once we got these 3 rails cut to length, Dakota started welding those in while I continued to cut the next 2 for the other side of the shop. And here's the pieces that I just got fit up over here on these panels. The short one wasn't too big a deal. This is just shy of, let's see, 5 foot, I think. And it wasn't very bad as far as needing a brace at the bottom, but for no longer than that took to cut that piece out, we went ahead and threw one in there for him. This one here was a little more wobbly. So once Dakota gets done over yonder, we'll pull that welding car over here and tack these in. We're gonna pause for a commercial. We got the trash truck here getting the dumpster. Boy, I'm sure thankful for that dumpster. Thing's a lifesaver with all the packaging and stuff we get for the arosswelding store. I want to take this moment to thank Kayla and our new part-time employee. I don't know if she wants her name shared on YouTube, but I'll find out and we'll mention her name in future videos if she's all right with her name being mentioned. But she has been a lot of help in the arosswelding store, and so I wanted to take this moment to thank Kayla and her for all their efforts in the arosswelding store. It's a great relief having our part-time employee around because it takes a load off of Kayla, and there's just a lot. It's a job in itself taking care of inventory and all that stuff in the arosswelding store. And I want to take this moment to thank those of you that have supported us through buying something in the arosswelding store or any other way that you've supported the arosswelding YouTube channel or what we do in general. Thank you. All right, back to the show. Once we got all these rails put in at the bottom between the house and the shop and behind the shop, while we were behind the shop, Dakota had the great idea to go ahead and hang the gate that goes here since we were here versus stretching that wire and then moving on. So we hung this gate. All right, so I've got it riding high a little bit on our latch end, but it's gonna fall a little bit because of this sloppy slop here. And we've got a little gap down there so that I'm gonna trim that much of a gap off of this top plate. To help with our situation here. Need a file back there, Dakota? Or here, I can spin it my way. Looky there. I think it might be all right. If you'll just take that hammer, Dakota, and tap these jacks that way a touch. Oh yeah, that's daggum perfect. Yeah, go ahead and tap it one time. All right. That way it catches up. All right, man. A little better, a little better. Now if you'll just watch this bubble, make sure it stays level this way. I'll tack that bottom one. The other way should be all right. All right, now let's give her a test swing. How's it look the other way? Swing it the other way. Of course, we got old Massey Ferguson in our way over there, but I think it'll work. What do you think? Cool deal, man. While we were in gate hanging mode, we went ahead and wheeled on to the back corner of this backyard area and hung this 16-foot gate back here. Once both of these bigger gates were hung, we went ahead and stretched the little 30-foot section between the house and the shop of no climb wire, 2x4 wire, just like we stretched along the longest part of this project in last week's video. If you missed it, there will be a link in the description. Got that all tightened up and looking good. And then it was time to hang the walk-through gates, which I'm super excited about. Have I mentioned that? Today's the day, Dakota, to hang the gates. Today's the day to hang the gates. Okay, so the first thing we did was hang the gate itself. We just got everything tacked up. I didn't weld anything out. And then we cut a hole in the pre-made gate. This is a pre-made gate, as in store-bought essentially, versus us building it here in my shop. But to make the latch cleaner, we wanted to flush mount it like so. So to do that, we had to cut a hole in the gate and get it lined up and stick it out far enough to where it would fit in this, what we call a slam latch. That's the part that's welded onto the post. That's called a slam latch, and this latch here is spring-loaded. So rather than having to do something like this, you just are able to just slam the gate. Look there, boy. I think that's gonna be perfect, Dakota. Shoot. Click, 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 click. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, getting closer, getting closer. Fantastic. Once we got the gate hung, just tacked, and the slam latch tacked to the post, we went ahead and mounted the 2x3 rec tubing to the house. If you've been following along for a while and you remember the privacy fence project we did, this is the exact same thing we did there. And I used, I believe it's strong tie mason screws. I say mason, you can use these in concrete also, but I like them because they cut threads into the brick. So whenever I'm tying into brick like this, rather than using like a traditional wedge type concrete bolt. I like the fact that these cut threads into the brick because it's less of a chance of it cracking. But full disclosure, I ended up breaking a brick anyway. I used an impact versus like the drill where you can adjust the torque on it. So what I learned was when doing these types of bolts is use the drill where you can adjust the torque. I think that's what it's called, torque. Anyway, that way you don't tighten it too much. I tightened one too much and it broke the brick. All that to say is maybe it doesn't matter what kind of bolts you use, but lesson learned. And fortunately, everything should be fine because the 2 7/8 post right next to the sidewalk is about 4 foot in the ground. So technically I may not have even have had to weld it to the house. Weld it. Fasten it to the house. So I feel confident that it is more than sufficient to hold the dogs in. I told the customer if he had any troubles with it, let me know and we'd be glad to come out and fix it free of charge because of my mistake. Once our rec tubing was tied to the house, we went ahead and put in a 2 7/8 rail up top and a 2 7/8 rail down below to tie the rec tubing to the 2 7/8 post. And then we tacked a 2x4 panel on the back side. God dang, you're tough. You ain't worried about your hand there? Golly. Boy, you ain't no joke, Dakota. And just to keep the owner's dog from getting tempted to slip between one of these rails in the walk-through gate, we tacked a 2x4 panel to the bottom few rails of the walk-through gate also. Again, super satisfying. Once we got this all done, we went ahead and went around to the other side of the house and worked on the other walk-through gate. Done the same exact thing. Gunshot now, Dakota. Very satisfying project. I'm so excited that it's done and it's all wrapped up. It feels good. I learned all kinds of things. I'm looking forward to the next project. Thank you for joining us. I hope you learned something. Hope you had fun. If you're interested in the pipe fence course or even the quick rig course for that matter, you can head on over to arosswelding.school, read about them, check them out. If you have any questions, shoot me an email at arosswelding@gmail.com. Hope you have an awesome weekend, and remember, learn something every day.